Here's Brodie Brazil.
So I am a handful of weeks away from turning 44 years old. And I really don't care to do the math on like 44 times 2. And if I'm at the middle of my life, potentially right now. Anyway, all these things have me thinking personally, like professionally, work life. Am I halfway done in the career? Who knows how this is all going to play out? But I started to think about, wait, that's Apple AI. It looks pretty good, actually. That actually looks better than me in real life. I'm starting to figure out what the bucket list looks like for me. And there are some personal things here, and there are some professional things here. I guess I should also mention before you see the bucket list items that I've come up with here, I think there are some foundations like being a good husband, being a great father, all those things, being a good family member, community member. I mean, I think those go without saying. Those probably don't need to be included here. I didn't even do a disclaimers. I didn't even make a page in my presentation here for those. They just kind of feel obvious. So this goes beyond the obvious ones of things that I'd like to accomplish in however many years left I've got. Hopefully it's more than double. I would love to live in Hawaii for 6 months. And by the way, there's a handful of these that are in no particular order, but 6 months, I've kind of come up with that as not a year, but also not 6 weeks, certainly not 6 days. 6 months, I feel like, would give me a long enough period of time. It's not even a full year, so you wouldn't even get to have the scope of understanding, like, is there a difference between summer and winter in Hawaii? But the point is, having vacationed there enough in my life, fortunately, I've been able to have that opportunity. The small bits and pieces I've got put together over time would make me just kind of wonder, could I really live out here? Because in every time I visited, I've always felt like, yeah, I could do this. I'd want to do this. And I guess there is some separation and detachment that I feel like I would want from what my life has always been here on the continental United States, specifically in California. And it's not that I don't love my life and love things. I guess I just feel like that wholesale detachment. Now, you're also wondering, like, how and when and where do you do this in your life? You're busy, you've got a job, you've got a child, you're married, you've got family stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of the point here. This one isn't happening anytime soon. I imagine that if you count the grays up here right now, they're going to be like fivefold or full gray by the time I get this opportunity. But it is something down the road on my radar. I would love to try this out. And I don't know, it's just out of curiosity, I feel like, more than anything else. I would hate to be at the end of life and say, well, I never made this happen. You know, if I ever had the opportunity and had a way to make this happen, that's another thing logistically. How do you live there for 6 months? What do you rent? You buy something? No, you don't buy something for 6 months. There's a lot of questions to be asked there too. Okay, here's another one. I would finally love to learn how to play golf. And you could see me right there. I've been out there before. I've been at the driving range. I've played a few rounds, but I am terrible. And I started to really get into it right before my son was born. You can imagine what happened next. And a lack of free time, and a lack of touching the clubs, and a lot of dust that accumulated on them in the garage. So this was me right before our son was born. So yeah, and the swing is terrible, I know. A lot of you good golfers are already looking at that saying, his front foot, what's going on there? Their hands, the wrist, the elbow, body. Yeah, I realize, like, I'm bad. I need help. I need lessons. But the thing is, I have so many friends that are good enough at golf. And I'm not even saying I want to be great at golf. I'm not even saying I want to have a certain, round, a certain handicap, anything like that. I just want to be competitive enough where I can get out there, not hold anybody back, challenge myself, be good enough. Like I say, learn it. It's not that I don't know how to play it. It's that I'm terrible at it. I just want to be good enough to hang out there for a round, for a couple, couple days worth, like a trip, a golf trip. I would love to do that. The problem is I have no skills right now. Like, I am so far behind, I feel like everybody else. Where was I? How did everybody else pick up golf, and what was I doing during all those years? It's a simple one. I'd love to learn how to be competitive at golf. I would also love to finish that Seaplane rating. Now, a lot of you know my background, commercial pilot, instrument flight instructor, flew for a lot of years. That was, again, earlier in my lifetime when I had a lot more free time. But I got very close. In fact, right before I started my previous job working at the sports network, I was this close, and I was flying that plane, the de Havilland Beaver. up at Clear Lake, and all I should have done was taken a check ride, passed my test, and I would have had the Seaplane rating. Instead, I thought, well, I'll start work and I'll circle back to this. And guess what? I never got back to it. So this is kind of a bucket list thing that I'd love to go back and finish. Flying planes is great. It's fun. It's all that. It's rewarding and everything. But there's something about landing an airplane on water and taxiing the airplane right up to a dock and all the flexibility that provides and all the adventure that provides. And so I'm that close to it. This would not even be difficult. This one would be kind of expensive. Just to finish off the rating, even a weekend worth of flying, that's pretty much all I need to do. They have courses. They have finishing sessions like up in Alaska. I could go up there for a full week, knock this out, get all the training done, take the test, and be done. It's just something that, as of right now, not really a priority in my life or my schedule, but someday I would love to finish off that Seaplane rating. Again, I did all the most difficult things. I never actually just took the test. Okay, here's another one, very applicable to what I'm doing right here, right now in the home studio. I would love to earn that YouTube play button. Did you see how my name also floated on there too? That's for 100,000 subscribers, and I do think there's another one for 1 million, and is there a 10 million one? I've got ambitions for that, but certainly not anywhere close. 100,000 subscribers. This channel is on pace, maybe to do it in 2025, maybe to do it in 2026, but you get that piece of hardware, you get that kind of plaque once the channel surpasses 100,000. And a lot of people say, hey, you should replace that fake tree, that fake plant over your shoulder. It's been there the entire time of your YouTube channel. Guess what? This was also at my first college apartment 20-something years ago. That's how long this fake plant has survived. Now it's made it here into the home studio. Maybe I'll replace that plant with this play button if we get there, if that encourages you to subscribe. Anyway, long story short, I was the same way about winning Emmy Awards when I first got into television. And winning an Emmy felt like it established you on something, and it was an aiming point. And yeah, I mean, I won an Emmy and then won a few more and won a few more after that. I'm not here to have that conversation. That is not a flex. It's just being honest. I'm only translating that to this. It feels like I'm 25 years later. Now it's the same thing. I really want to get my hands on one of these. Once I get it, I'll also probably look at it the same way I do as Emmys and say, well, it's nice to have, but I got to stay focused on what I'm doing. So it's weird. I would like this. This is attainable. This one might happen sooner than anything else. In fact, probably based on the challenges listed here with this bucket list. But this is definitely one that I would like to have. I put a lot of effort into this YouTube channel, and I'm aiming for that reward, no doubt. Okay. This is a big one. This is a sentimental one. This one's going to give me goosebumps. I would love to be part of the San Jose Sharks Stanley Cup victory parade. And I mean, look at young Brazil on my 13th birthday. I got that. Yeah, they were wearing white sweaters back at home back in those days. That was the home white sweater, the classic first/old Sharks logo. And there is me with the Stanley Cup. And that was in 2016. That was in Pittsburgh. That was the media day between the Sharks and Penguins. And they had the cup there. And I touched it at some point later. I did. I got up next to it, arm around it, took a photo. But since then, since 2016, that's as close as I've ever gotten to the Stanley Cup. And so the thought of winning it for the franchise, obviously, I'm making this personal. Like, I'd love to be part of the parade. I hope this for the franchise. I hope this for the players. I hope this for everybody. But selfishly, I would love to know in my lifetime what that feels like to have the Sharks win it all, have this region win it all, have this region finally celebrate something they've loved for so long, something I've loved for so long. There they are. There's the goosebumps. Like, it would just be magical. Now, I've got no control over this. This is sports, right? Like, you roll the dice on how this goes. But I would say 30 plus years in, and the odds are, if I can hang around as a fan or an employee or a broadcaster or whatever, a certain amount of years, even a fan for another 30 years, hopefully longer and more, the odds would probably be good that there would inevitably be a chance in there somewhere. So my point is, I would love to see that day. Yeah, I'd love to see the win. I'd love to see the series. I'd love to see how we got there. But I would also love to be part of that ultimate day where there's nothing else to do besides celebrate the Sharks winning a Stanley Cup. And at the same time, I know this photo is crazy, right? Somebody sent this to me a long time ago on social media. Yeah, that's me and Brownie back in the day. So you know how old that photo is. Obviously, that's at In-N-Out Burger. I can tell because of the background and the tray and the fries. Those fries are getting me hungry. Anyway, I just needed a picture of me working. I eventually need to creatively slow down my work pace. Again, this is not for the near term, right? This is not the next 5 years, the next 10 years plus, not at all. Eventually, because I go so hard at this stuff, YouTube videos every day, work stuff all the time, early morning practices, late night games, weekends, holidays, all that stuff. I've gone so hard at the career that eventually it is going to be a challenge for me to dial it back. And it's also in my DNA that I'm somebody who, I can handle a heavy workload, and sometimes I get a little toasty around the edges. I need a break. But at the same point, that's all I've ever known in my adult life. And so essentially, I am going to have to creatively slow down my work pace. By that, I mean do things that challenge me and keep me busy, but also open up the door for free time. I can't say yes to everything anymore. So I have to, creatively, can't say it any better than that, creatively slow down my work pace. Can't go from 100 to 0. Don't want to go from 100 to 25. How do I notch it down slowly, ramp it down slowly so that I can feel good, feel right, feel normal, feel productive and accomplished, but also have the opportunity to enjoy life, travel, do some of these other bucket list things? Because if I don't do this, that other stuff has no chance of even happening. There's Apple AI Brazil again. And look at the future. I mean, I guess that's why I chose that background. That's when my bucket list needs to be complete, when there's like floating freeways and flying cars and skyscrapers that look like that. Yeah, that's when my bucket list needs to be complete. What did you think? Am I crazy? Am I too realistic? Or should I have shot even higher on some of these things? Let me know in the comments section. Also, thumbs up down there. That'll greatly help me, this video, and this channel. And don't forget down there to also hit that subscribe button. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.